You actually lead me right into my next quote. I'm going to jump ahead about a century and a half, a little bit ahead of St. Joan of Arc to St. Catherine of Siena. And I'm going to put a twist on a very famous quote of St. Catherine's, which you could finish easily. Become who you are meant to be, and you'll set the world on fire. Okay, I'm going to switch and say, respond to this one. Become fire, and the world will become what it is meant to be. Is that true? And if so, how would you help Catholics to become fire so that the world will become what it is meant to be?
Yeah, I think it's true. And I think it's especially appropriate today on the Feast of the Sacred Heart, right? So the Lord wants to kindle a fire on the earth, right? And the fire is the fire of charity. And you know, tragically, we reduce charity to sentiment. And that's not what charity is. Charity includes, but it's bigger than sentiment. It's bigger than feelings. I don't think Joan felt particularly good as she was being burned alive, right? I don't think Maximilian Kolbe felt particularly good as he's dying of starvation, taking the place of another inmate in Auschwitz. I think the church so here's the problem. So there are a lot of things wrong right now in the culture, in the church, in the nation, in the world. The key to problem solving is to find the problem. What's the problem? Like, what's the fundamental problem with humanity? Well, it's right here. It's the heart. So how does the heart get well? I mean, politics is very important. Can't fix my heart. Law is really important. It can't fix my heart. The only one that can fix my heart is God. And he fixes that in lots of ways, by the power of faith and by the power of the sacraments, especially, whereby my heart is hopefully ever more conformed to his heart. And so become fire, meaning what? Have your heart ever more conformed to the heart of Jesus. What are you going to do? Well, you're going to help heal the world. Why? Because the world's at each other's throats right now. And nobody can fix this except God, which is to say, nobody can fix this except his bride. Because that's how God works in the world right now, is through his bride. The problem is the church is at each other's throats too. And so there is like everything's at stake. Like we have got to get well as the body of Christ, or we are not going to be able to answer the world's cry. But instead, the world is often, or the church rather, is oftentimes, I think, imitating the world. We demonize one another. We the charismatics demonize the traditionalists. The TLMers demonize the charismatics. How dare you receive Jesus in the hand? How dare you tell me I have to receive him on the tongue? How dare you do? We just act like the world. We got to stop doing that. And so if our hearts can evermore be conformed to the Lord's, if my heart can be ever more conformed to the Lord, then I'm going to be all the more able to go out into the world in which I live and to play my part in helping to reconcile the world, which is what God's sending us out to do by drawing people into an encounter with Jesus. People should walk into our parishes, people who are not Catholic, people who have been away from the church for a long time. They should walk into our parishes and they should look around and go, I'll be darned. These people really get it. Here's people who don't have anything in common. They drive different cars. They make different levels of income. They're every color under the rainbow. They have nothing in common. All they have in common is they know they owe everything to the man on that cross, and they have surrendered their lives to him, and they call each other brother and sister, and they lay down their lives for each other. And if people saw that, they'd be lining up in our churches. They don't see it. And because they don't, our churches are emptying. Or where they don't, the churches are emptying. Where they do, people are flocking.